Aging with Dignity has been concerned about the march of artificial intelligence since the first wave of it began. During when the public's attention was distracted by what was a clear pandemic in their midst, through the back door came the inroads of open AI and open source large language model structures that were entering the public discourse about would they be useful for mankind. And of course, it's always showing with artificial intelligence the upside. The disease is cured, the problem solved quickly, and so forth. But I remember watching Sam Altman in an interview say that he felt the goal was for people to be free of work, that they would no longer work. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about, Kathy, was this idea of idleness and this awareness that in the view of this leading voice for AI, one of the creators really of open source and artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, his view was the goal was to be idle so you could be creative. You wouldn't have to work, you wouldn't be encumbered by work. What does that world look like when people aren't working? And what does the world look like when people are idle like that?
Well, there's a difference. We have to distinguish between an empty idleness and then enough freedom to be creative. So there's a middle ground there. What is it? Leisure, the basis of culture, Piper, who talked about that and said that you had to be free, but it was all based on connection.
Right.
That leisure was based on relationship and creativity. People find out who they are through what they contribute, through their work.
Right.
You know, the work of their hands, the work of their mind, the work of their heart. So I don't think that's something we want for people.
Right, and what I think always bothered me was the lying that went on at the beginning by Mark Andreessen, Sam Altman, all the big tech giants that were saying, oh, no, this won't be a threat to human employment. It's going to grow jobs. Now they're pretty much admitting that's a lie. Of course it's going to eliminate white-collar jobs. You know, you're already seeing it now. I talked to my son at Roca News. There's a plug for rocanews.com.
We love it.
And he was saying how, you know, that newspapers are now using AI to help prepare initial drafts of reporting, and then they come in as humans to try to polish and cure it, but that it led to them decreasing a staff position so they could do the news that way. And I think everybody writ large at the bigger organizations doing the same thing. Law firms are doing it. I talk to my friends that practice law, you know, and they talk about how these jobs that used to be done by junior attorneys are now being done by artificial intelligence. And so I'm wondering, with all these jobs disappearing, the lie that led to this, it said, no, it won't happen. How do you get the genie back in the bottle? How do you go back and say, okay, never mind, we don't want this taking away all these jobs?
Well, it's not even about the jobs. It's dehumanizing for human beings. When you said that, though, they're preparing the writing for the newspapers, well, we're going to lose all our writing skills. Right. And I mean, that's a tragic loss.
Right.
And you don't get those back overnight. That's,
right.
as you know, passed on.
Right.
So I don't find that to be valuable. What concerns me is, you know, at the beginning of the internet, there people, oh, this is like a God, it's the latest God. Oh, we're so excited, it's going to do all these things, we're so lucky. And if you didn't agree, or if you raised a little flag of warning, you were one of those people,
right.
You know, but
anti-tech, head in the sand.
Yeah, old, or, you know, passé. But I think we had real problems. Look what's happened with the internet. Now, there was a man who drives a bus in Ireland, and he said, I've been driving it for years. I used to hear their talking. He said, now I drive a bus in silence with middle school people. When they do talk, they all have American accents.
Wow.
Because
so these are Irish kids that are speaking like Americans because of their what? Their media?
Their media. And they live in the country, too. They're not Dublin or Cork or something. These are country kids, but they all speak with American accents. It's homogenized. It's like our individuality, our cultures are even melting into each other because of the internet and the tech. So to tell me that artificial intelligence is the latest small God, you know, I find it worrisome.
Yeah, because I look at the internet, it's a good analogy. When it was launched, all the promise of it, all the good that would come out of it, and now you see the porn that's prevalent in every corner with young kids defenseless against it, and the porn companies keeping laws being passed, keeping them from being passed that would have age restrictions, you know. So you see that, you see the gambling, you see the crime. I was at a bank recently where they were talking, this poor old man was talking about how his money was stolen from his account by somebody. Well, this was a criminal in Turkey
Yes.
that had
Oh,
access
yeah.
to this old man that was living
Right.
in a community in Florida. And I'm
Yep.
thinking, how many times has this happened where you now have this internet? That's so, I mean, you're not anti-modern to raise obvious concerns that the internet has led to a proliferation of problems. But when I look at artificial intelligence, which of course is built upon this technological platform, and these large language models that imitate human behavior, I see nothing but trouble coming. And I know that makes me sound anti-modern, but I see jobs eliminated. I see humanness being pulled out of our healthcare system to where robots will be caring for people because it's cheaper, it's easier, and you can program to act more human-like. So where does this lead? Where does all this AI lead? I mean, I've got all these fears, but I'm wondering, where does it land? Does it lead to a backlash? Does it lead to a Humans First campaign? That's Age of Dignity has been a big Humans First fan, but seems like most people are like, no, AI first. They're smarter than we are.
That's the arrogance, isn't it? Now, that was the fall. That's the fall. And maybe the fall is coming. And what happens after you fall? Well, you get back up.
Right.
And I think that you have to continue to be a voice of warning, because those voices are heated at times. And at least you're preparing people for the fall, if nothing else, that this isn't going to be nirvana.
Right. I saw an advertisement by a company that was touting our robots will replace your workers. Now, this has been happening at Amazon and Walmart for a long time as they automate their services and their warehouses and all the work done there. And of course, we're going to eliminate the heavy lifting so you don't hurt your back. But they're eliminating jobs that people have that feed their families. To me, I look at AI and I go, this is largely anti-family. It's, and they'll say, oh, it frees you up to be with your kids. With what are you going to pay for your
You're gonna feed
food
them.
for your kids, you know? So I look at that and I go, this is kind of anti-human, anti-family. And the argument AI makes is, why wouldn't you want the smarter, more efficient, saves money, makes us money? I'm thinking, there's a bunch of reasons why.
Well, sure, we do want that, but we want it with the truth about the impact, and we want it in a balanced fashion.
Right.
You know, we don't want to throw out what makes us human and valuable.
Right.
You know, we're each so precious. Interestingly, that Ireland had, and Ireland's every country. I mean, I don't want to be a curmudgeon about Ireland, but they had this thing with the no cards, and cash was so passé, and if you used cash, you had to get in a special line during COVID. Dirty cash. Well, we have to have gloves for our workers to deal with your cash, etc. Cash was, you were not cool if you had anything to do with cash, and everyone bought it. Everyone did it. So we had a hurricane recently. I don't know what we were calling it, but it looked like a hurricane to me. And terrible damage. But the not so funny part, but that, was that you go into the stores, cash only, cash
Right.
only. And people would,
where's your technology now?
where's your tech? And who had cash? People our age. People who had Depression era parents had cash.
I know this makes us sound like old fuddy-duddies about modernity, but when I look at AI, I look at it on par with the threat of the splitting of the atom and what it's meant for all the nuclear anxiety ever since. So I think we have to buckle up for what's ahead and hold on to our humanity.